Hello, my name is Paula Daniela Barros Hernandez. I'm 22 years old and I'm a student of English Licenciature as a foreign language at UNAD University. And in this opportunity, I'm going to talk to you an important and special event of my life. This is an activity for the task 4 from the course Intermediate English Second, talking about past event stories and asset. So let's start. In 2013, I was 15 years old and my parents gave me the option to choose as a birthday party or a trip. So since I love to travel, I chose to travel. In addition to my dad's sister, my aunt, Mari, lives in Monterrey, Mexico, and for that same year, my cousin Miguel Angel, their son was going to get married less in Cancun, and they told me that if my parents paid me the tickets, they will take care of all the other expenses including tickets and hotel in Cancun. In addition to that, a tour of the best places in Mexico City, and I was delighted to say yes immediately. Even though I traveled on December 12th, and my parents gave me a small but very beautiful celebration with my family and friends too. So I had the travel and I had the little celebration with my family and friends. The day arrived, and since I was traveling by two different airlines, such as Avianca and Aeromexico, I couldn't contract the recommendation service where you have the company of a return assistant during the entire trip at the different scale. So the flight attendant accompanied to you during the travel. And for this reason, I had to travel alone and totally alone at 15 years old. So I was really scared, but I was happy too. I was a little scared because it was the first time I traveled to another country, but with the happiness that I will be in a wonderful adventure and an excellent experience. I will have an excellent experience. Everything on the trip went very well. Each of the flights was super, and I was able to get to Monterrey, and in the evening, hours after left Bucaramanga at 5 in the morning, I started the travel. And my uncles and cousins received me with a lot of love, happiness, and balloons too. Then we traveled a week to Cancun for the wedding, where everything was beautiful and paradisiacal. Sea, full of moon night. It was the night of the wedding, and the family, the delicious Mexican food in a beautiful 5-star hotel called the Moon Palace Resort. After 3 days, we returned to Monterrey to spend Christmas together. And I forget that in Cancun, I could swim with the dolphins, and it was a wonderful experience that I couldn't forget. After 3 days, we returned to Monterrey to spend Christmas together. That night was magical because in that city there were humid conditions together with sub-zero temperatures, and it snowed. So that for the first time I was able to meet the snow. And as my uncle saw me so happy, 2 days later they took me to a ranch outside to the city where there was a lot of snow, and it was wonderful. Since we played, we made a snowman, and we went home and made a barbecue. It was another really, really happy and wonderful day. The following week, we traveled to Mexico DF by car, so I was able to visit several states. And we arrived in Mexico City, and we visited different places such as the Chapultepec Castle, the Teotihuacan Pyramids, and the of Virgin de Guadalupe and Xochimilco, that it's like a canal and you go in a boat, and the boats are so colorful. I like it so much. I enjoyed each of these places to the fullest, and they were wonderful and the best with my family as a family time. We share a new year with the family in Mexico DF, and after 3 days before we returned to Monterrey, where my aunt and cousins took me on a tour through the city, and I was able to visit the foundry package where you can appreciate and observe the Cerro de la Silla, that it's so famous in Monterrey City, because there are like 3 or 2 mountains that simulate like a caballo, la silla de un caballo, like a horse seat. And we also went to the Santa Lucia, among others. Santa Lucia is another canal too. And for January 12th, I returned home and on this necessary trip to stop in Panama, and arrive at 6 a.m. and I have to take the another flight at 7 p.m. So I need to stay at the airport all the day, and I was so horrified because all the day in an airport, so they will stay all day in the airport. But luckily for me, I have cousins that from my grandma, for my mom's part, that live there. So I was picked by one of them, my cousin Jesus, and I went with him and his wife to visit some places from Panama. And it was an amazing day because I could meet different and wonderful places. And it was very happy too, with something that at first seemed boring, since I thought I was going to stay all day in the airport. So on a road I like in the middle of the sea to reach the port. So we also visited 3 coastal belts where there are miles of giant and luxurious building and a lot of touristic life. I visited the Amador port too, and I went like a road in the middle of the sea to arrive to the Amador port, and it was wonderful. We also went to another 2 beaches just for visit. So we arrived to the beach and then we go to another beach just for meet the beaches. And then in the afternoon I resisted and I came back to the airport again. I was very grateful to them, and I came home around 11 at night, full of beautiful memories and fantastic adventures. Very grateful to God, to life, to my parents, uncles, cousins, to my family, and to all the people who made this great experience and this great adventure full of many emotions and feelings, but especially happiness. Thank you so much for your attention. Bye.